Hey guys, ChaPow here, back with another Destiny 2 video for you guys. Now this is going to be how I would have made the Destiny 2 campaign. Now in terms of quality, the Destiny 2 campaign was very good. The cutscenes were all interesting, all the characters felt a lot more fleshed out. You knew who were the good guys, you knew who were the bad guys, and you were this one Guardian who everyone was relying on to save the day basically, and it was very good in terms of that. But the quantity wasn't all there. It felt very rushed. There wasn't a lot of missions. It felt as if you did major points like getting your light back or getting all the Vanguard regrouped in very quick succession. By the way, there will be spoilers in this, but if you haven't completed the campaign, why are you going to be watching a video of someone remaking the campaign and basically just making minor improvements? Now, I'm not going to be cutting out huge missions, or I'm not going to be like basically messing up the overall storyline at all. I'm just basically going to be like adding new missions. I'm going to be basically reconfiguring missions layout of the overall storyline. I'm going to be basically just having different missions have different outcomes and having the same missions have different outcomes and things like that, and basically just making minor improvements to hopefully make the overall storyline a little bit better. So without further ado, let's just get right into the video. Now the homecoming mission was probably the best mission in the entire campaign, so I'm not going to change much of that. Basically, it started off really fast and did everything it needed to do. It made Gaul and the Red Legion look like this unstoppable force, and it was really intense and really fast paced for the first part. And then the second part slowed it down a little bit, where you're doing that walking part to meet Hawthorne, and it was very good. However, one thing I would change is, rather than when you meet Hawthorne just jumping on some ships and then flying to the farm, is if you and Hawthorne and some of the survivors, instead of just flying there, you had to walk there and you had to actually like kill things along the way. Because the European Dead Zone is meant to be this dangerous place, and they just basically take that away when they're just like, oh yeah, let's just fly to the farm. That would be cool. So what would be cool is if you and Hawthorne and some of her survivors were like walking through, you cleared off ambushes along the way, and then when you got to the farm you thought it was safe, but then there was just loads of fallen on the farm who tried to ambush you once again, and once you'd cleared them out, that's when you can set up your civilization. And that would have been, it would have been good, because it would have let you know Hawthorne a little bit better, and it would have showed you a different pace to the game overall, rather than just the really fast story mission. It also would have showed you that it can be a little bit slower, but also still have good combat. From there, you go straight to Devrim Cade. You do not, and I repeat, you do not go straight to the Shard as soon as you lose your light. What is the fucking point of building up this storyline of you not having your light, and how will the Guardians survive without the light, and then the exact mission after we lose it, we go and get it back? That is the main thing that pissed me off in Destiny 2. The fact that it was built up as this whole thing, you trying to survive without your light, and then you get it back straight a fucking way. What is the point? No, you don't do that. You go meet Devrim Cade, where he does the mission where he shows you the adventures and the lost sectors. That is all you do, and then you do the rest of the EDZ missions until you get to Titan. Now when you get to Titan, you do the first two missions still without your light, because you do not need your light for these missions. There's a few occasions where you need to double jump, but apart from that you don't need to use a super and you don't need to use a grenade, and those double jump areas could easily be fixed with just a few level changes, making them a lot more accessible for non-double jumping people, if you know what I mean. Then after you do those two missions, you do the first mission that I've added in, which is where you and Zavala have to go and clear out a group of hives stationed somewhere on Titan, because they're trying to basically build up their army so they can take out everyone and just take Titan easily, because the Guardians who are defending it no longer have their light. So this would be really good, because you do this mission alongside Zavala. You actually do a full mission with Zavala at your side. This would be good, because it would probably show you a bit of a more vulnerable side to Zavala, because with him being this big, burly, strong Titan, him without his light, he might be a little bit more scared of dying now than he usually would, and it might paint Zavala in a different way, and it'd just be really good, because you never really do any missions with other story characters unless it's like your friends in a fire team or something like that. So it'd be very nice to do a mission actually with the Vanguard. So you go and you clear out, and you just basically you destroy the hive boss, and then you go into the last mission on Titan, which is Utopia. Now Utopia is a very good mission, because it's the first one where you actually drive a heavy vehicle, and it's pretty cool. It don't fire anything, but it runs over hive like a knife through butter, and it was very good. And once you've done this mission, this is when you first hear about the Almighty, and might I just say, the stuff that Bungie did with space with this game really gave the game a massive scale, and it showed how big your consequences and your actions actually were in saving just the whole universe. It's beautiful. Everything that they've done with like the sky sandboxes and with like just space and the suns and the planets, like if you're looking at them from miles away, it just makes you think how big the game is, and they did very, very good with that. And then after you've seen the Almighty cutscene, you get a cutscene with Salone and Zavala where he gets really angry and he slams his fist on the table and he says, "I need my fire team," and this leads you to go on to Nessus to find Cade. Now in this mission you go and you meet Failsafe, and then you go and free Cade 6. Now usually you free him from this time warp that he's stuck in by deactivating a teleporter, but I wouldn't do that. I'd have it where you go and kill some Vex mind thing that's basically just manipulating him, holding him in this like time warp cell as sort of like a prisoner because he's trying to nick the teleporter. And then in the next mission, once you've freed him, you and Cade meet up and you go to find the teleporter together. You have to go into like the Nessus core area where there's like floating rocks and there's like a molten core that you can see. You two have to go through that together to go and find the teleporter. At some point there's like a split in the road where there's a left path and a right path, and you have to choose. You could actually choose which one you go down, and say if you went down the left path, every time you went down the left path you might have a different experience, and each time you went down the right path you might have a different experience with like enemies that you have to face or puzzles or jumps or something like that. Just basically make them randomly generated, and that would be pretty cool. Now once you've gone through these tunnels, both tunnels lead to the same outcome, but you don't know that because obviously you only go down one of them. Now when you got to the final boss room you can see the teleporter, but there are Vex, Cabal and Fallen all fighting for this teleporter, because obviously the Vex want it because it's their teleporter, the Cabal want it because it'd really help with the Red Legion's conquest of Earth and everything like that, and the Fallen pretty much want it because teleporters are cool, and who doesn't really want a teleporter? A teleporter would be awesome. And obviously Cade wants it for reasons that he only knows, but you just go there because he tells you that he wants him. He doesn't actually tell you why he actually wants it. So what you have to do is you have to clear out loads of Cabal and loads of Fallen and loads of Vex and everything like that, and then you go and you pick up the teleporter. As soon as you do this, either a Vex, a Cabal or a Fallen boss will spawn in with loads of enemies that you have to kill, and once you get that boss down to one hit, that boss then flees. Then say a Cabal, a Vex or a Fallen boss, whichever one you didn't face, might come in again. You have to do the same with them. You get them down to one hit, they flee. And then the same with the final enemy type. And once you get them all down to one hit, they all flee. Now you think you're safe, but then they all come back at once just as you're about to escape. Now obviously because you don't have your lighting, you don't have any premium gear, you're just basically finding basic guns that you've picked up off the floor at this point. Your guns, say they could jam or something like that, that'd be pretty cool. So your guns jam there, you're trying to shoot them. There could even be a thing where like your Guardian's trying to fix his gun in like a panic state. He's like trying to unclog his gun, he's swapping weapons, using all of his weapons, none of them were working. And then your Ghost could be in the background making some like panic noises, like obviously worried, thinking that you're gonna die, telling you to like get out and shit. And then Cade comes back at this point and one-shots all of the bosses with some like random hand cannon or something like that. So he one-shots all the bosses, and tell me that isn't something that Cade 6 would do. Cade 6 would come in at the very last second and he would definitely steal the glory, and then he'd probably say some smarky remark telling you to like pull your weight or to help him out or something like that, because that is exactly what Cade 6 does. He's a dickhead, but he's a lovable dickhead, and we all love Cade 6, and this would let you know Cade 6 a little bit better, obviously because you're doing the mission with him, but then it'd also really solidify what type of character Cade 6 is. And then once you've done all of that, you do the whole cutscene at the end where he's like, oh, Zavala really said that he needed me and shit like that, and then he does the whole thing where he tells you where Ikora might be. Cade tells you that Ikora is most likely on Io, so that's where you go to look, and you find her on Io, and she's very upset and she's very depressed because she knows that she's probably going to die because she doesn't have a light or anything like that. So you do that mission where you first meet her and everything like that, and it's totally fine. But then you hear of a group of Taken somewhere on Io who are trying to corrupt the land and make Io their own Taken planet. Now, with Io being so sacred and important to Ikora because it's the last place that the Traveller's Light touched, she asks you if you could go take out this group of Taken because she doesn't want to fight, because she doesn't want to lose a life, but she knows that you're a good enough Guardian to actually go on and take on this threat. So what you do is you go through like this tunnel system and everything, and there's a maze that you have to go through. Now, Ikora helps guide you through this maze because that seems like something that would fit Ikora's character, because rather than being a Titan who just like fight your way through or help you fight your way through, she'd more than likely help you in more of a tactical, strategic communication way and smarter way, because she is Ikora and she is a warlock, so she would use brains over brawn, if you know what I mean. Now, when you get to the final boss room, you meet the Taken who's doing this, and he's basically about as threatening as one of those high-value targets on any of the random planets. So when you're about to kill him, he then does out this, like, random call thing where he just, like, screams, and then, I mean, a shit ton of Taken swarm you, and you know you can't fight them, so Ikora tells you to run. Now, this sets it that you don't have your light, and you got to know when and when not to actually stay and fight. So you start running, you just want to get the hell out of there, and Ikora once again helps guide you through the maze because that fits in with her character of being a warlock and being more of an intellectually driven character. Now, after this mission, once you've regrouped all of the Vanguard, this is when you go and finally get your light back. You and the Vanguard, all together as a group of 4, go and do a strike sort of mission where you go into the Dark Forest, all of you 4 together, and you all go and get your light back. Now, this is in the area where, you know, when you get your other subclasses, like, not when you first get your light back, but when you get, like, your Hammer of Souls, when you get your Golden Guns, when you get your Nova Bomb and shit like that. That's where you go. You go into that area where you meet the shard, where you see the shard, sorry, and it's this massive area, which is basically why I've chosen this one. It's a massive area where there could easily be a lot of Taken enemies that you have to take out. Now, this would just be really good because not only have you done one mission with each of them, but you'd also do a mission with all of them together, which would be very, very cool. And obviously, because it's a strike and you do not have your light, as soon as you die, you have to basically go back a checkpoint. I wouldn't make you start from the beginning because that wouldn't fit in with what Destiny 2 does. You'd basically just go back a checkpoint and then you'd have to carry on from there. And it would just be quite a nice thing to actually do a mission with all of the Vanguard together, and then you all finally get your light back. You're all a lot stronger. It all brings you closer together because you've all just got your light back together, and it's just really, really awesome, and it would just be very, very good. Then the campaign continues as normal until the very last mission. I won't change anything about the build up to the boss fight because that was fine. Even when, like, you saw the Vanguard and they were all almost dead, that felt pretty cool. But imagine how much more epic it would have made it feel if all of the Vanguard would have had their light back and they were still getting their arse whooped by the Red Legion. Not even fighting Gaul, but the three of the best Guardians in the universe were getting their arse whooped by not even Gaul himself, and then you single-handedly had to go and fight Gaul himself. That would have made it feel a lot more epic and a lot more difficult before you even got there. But then we get onto the boss fight, and it was a bit underwhelming. It was quite underwhelming. He felt like a strike boss, in all honesty. He didn't feel as hard to beat as he should have. I would have wanted to have tried to beat him at least 6 or 7 times before I actually got it done. I wouldn't have wanted to do it first time. I want Gaul to feel like an absolute boss. I know it's not a raid, so he can't feel like an actual raid boss, but he needs to feel like a difficult boss at least, and you're going against him single-handedly. What I would have done to improve this is every time, like, you got Gaul down a certain amount of health, you would have still used, like, all the super abilities that he has and everything. But once you got him down a certain amount of health, I would have had him, like, introduce one of his console members, like one of his right-hand men, and actually introduce them the way, like, bosses would be introduced in, like, Prison of Elders. You know, like, Psylocke the Defiled! Something like that, but he'd introduce one of his right-hand men, like, I don't know, Scatnu the Scion Raper or something like that. Probably not that. That definitely wouldn't be a name that they'd actually go with. But imagine how much epic it would have made the console members feel if they got introduced like that, and then imagine how much more awesome that'd make Gaul feel because he's introducing them, you're cleaning the floor with them, and then you still need to fight him. That would have been really fucking sick. Then what else I would have done is, say you got Gaul to, like, the last 5% of health. He then starts draining your light once again, and you have to kill him before he fully drains all of your light. That would have truly made Gaul a much better boss. Now, once you've killed Gaul finally, you get the same cutscene where he's like, I am a god! And then the Traveller banishes him, basically. But then the cutscene after that, I wouldn't have had it take place in the tower, because me personally, I would have not rebuilt the tower until like at latest year 2, or at earliest the next expansion, because you should not get your tower back straight after your tower has been destroyed. It should take ages to build. A tower of the size of the one that we fucking have now should take ages to build, and instead it's just like, oh, you killed Gaul, here's one cutscene, bang, you got the tower back. And then you see the darkness, and that was pretty cool. But basically, that is how I would have done the overall Destiny 2 campaign mission. If you guys thought that was pretty cool, then please leave a like and a comment, and also subscribe. That's the first time I think I've actually asked for a comment. But anyway, guys, if you haven't enjoyed that video, then please press that like button and that subscribe button, and go do the same to the rest of the ChaPow crew. Their names will be in the description down below. Also, go check out Phantom's name will also be in that description down below, and I'll see you guys next time, and goodbye.